Hey. Hello. Good evening. Thank you all for joining. It's 6:30. We're gonna go ahead and get started with the meeting. Donald, if you want to, or let's see, the pastor is not on the call. So Donald, you want to go ahead and lead us in prayer, open us up with prayer?
Sure. Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to join together today to discuss the business of our community. Heavenly Father, we ask that you guide our mouths, our hearts, so that what is communicated may be receivable by all, that may all receive what is communicated. In your name we pray, oh Heavenly Father. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Everyone, if you're not speaking, can we put you on mute because we're getting feedback on somebody's call? Thank you so much. What we normally start off is the fire and police report. So Chief Jones, are you on the call? Anyone from the fire department on the call? They will probably join us shortly. Anyone from the police department? Are you on the call?
Yes, good afternoon, this is Sergeant Gibbons.
Oh, hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm sorry, good evening. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Just real quickly, because I'm actually in traffic trying to get on the other side of the city to still do a little work and answer some calls. So I'm going to give you guys the crime stats real quick. Give me 30 seconds and I'm going to try to pull over here real quick.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. So again, good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Sergeant Gibbons with the South Fulton Police Department. Bring you guys greetings from Chief Meadows, who's the Chief of Police. So with the crime stats, with District 1 and District 2 combined, there's a total of, the crime is actually down in both districts by 23% year to date from last year, week number 26, up until this year, week number 26.
Y'all sleeping. Y'all not getting ready to eat. Did you want food?
That's 6% in District 1 and 17%.
It's no problem.
The crimes that were
So Sergeant Gibbons, can you hold on for a second? Someone is not on mute and we hear your conversation. Can we get everybody to go on mute if you're not speaking? Thank you so much. Go ahead, Sergeant Gibbons.
Okay, all right. Again, total between District 1 and District 2, the crime is down about 17% in District 2 and about 6% in District 1. The crimes that we're really focusing on this week that are up a little bit in District 1 are the larcenies and the auto thefts. Again, I just tell you guys, like I always do, about the leaving the stuff that's visible in the cars and just making sure that you guys are securing the cars, putting them in the garages and locking the doors, and don't leave anything visible in plain sight. Also, just want to remind you guys, on August the 1st, we're having National Night Out. It's gonna be a community-wide event. It's a free event. Plenty of vendors from all over the city of South Fulton and from other areas. It's an opportunity for the citizens in the city of South Fulton to come out with the police department and meet and greet your police officers, the police chief, some of the commanders from the different divisions, to view the cars, the ATVs, the SWAT vehicles and all those things. Again, it's a free event on August the 1st. It's going to be held on Old National Highway at 6385 Old National Highway in the LA Fitness parking lot. Just to give you guys a real quick heads up, I see Councilwoman Rowell on the call. The Sandtown Apartments, the Slate Apartments on Sand Bay Drive, they've actually locked the back gate on Buck Rock Road now. It's been locked for about 3 to 4 weeks, only utilizing one entrance. They actually have the gate at the front of that complex working. They have cameras now that are actually on the gates. They're beginning to put security cameras on some of the targeted buildings that we have a lot of issues with. I'm trying to encourage them to have the police access. To have the police tie into those cameras so we can have live feeds for some of the criminal activities that go on that property. So that's just a tidbit of good news. Not sure if Councilwoman Rowell, you were aware of that. They're trying to get with the city and do a Moms and Muffins event. I get with Councilwoman Rowell and send her a quick email when I get that information on tomorrow. I found all that out on today from the Slate Apartments. So far as the crime stats and the updates on everything on the police side, that's basically about it for today. Any questions about anything?
Sergeant Gibbons, is there a new management company for that apartment community?
Yes, ma'am. There's a new management company. They're called Greystone Management. From what I've gathered from them this time, it seemed like they're coming in with a strong hand. They're doing some evictions. They have, I believe, 10 of them scheduled for this month. So they're trying to clean that property up a little bit better than what the previous owners and the previous management company has been doing.
That's great to hear. Great. Does anyone else have any questions? Well, thank you so much. I know you're in your car. We appreciate the information. We're gonna move on. Is Chief Jones on the call? Anybody from the fire department? Well, we will move right along. The next person on the agenda is Ms. Marbury, who is a Sandtown resident, and with her, she has invited Mr. Alberto Bechara, and forgive me if I didn't pronounce the name correctly. They are going to talk to us about a project called the sewer expansion from septic to the city sewer. And so with that, Ms. Marbury, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Davis. Always thankful Sandtown Community Association for allowing the platform for us to meet tonight and get the information out. And of course, thank our wonderful city council. Beg your pardon? And of course, can you hear me? Thank our wonderful city councilman, Catherine, for the hard work that she's done and for hearing the voice of the people. This is something that I'm passionate about, and in speaking with the residents and the cooperation that we have gotten with the petition, they seem to be very interested in going forward with this. And Fulton County Public Works have been absolutely wonderful about extending themselves. Alberto is absolutely wonderful. He is, he's wonderful. He's great. Anyway, he's a graduate of the Georgia Tech in Atlanta, Georgia. He's a professional engineer with a master's degree in civil engineering and has worked with city government for 25 years. I want to thank him tonight for coming out to speak with us, and I'll lend him the floor. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Juanita. Yes, I would like to add that tonight I have Mr. Terry Peters, our Deputy Director with Fulton County, is present with the meeting. So we're here, both of us, to answer any question that you have. And so we are ready to talk about septic and sewage tonight.
Yes, thank you.
And good evening, everybody. Good evening, Sandtown Community Association. And thank you all for inviting me. And thank you, especially City Councilwoman, Ms. Catherine, for calling and sharing the request of your community. And thank you for Juanita for making this happen. Fulton County Public Work did present at City of South Fulton District 1 Town Hall back in February 21, and it was hosted by the Councilwoman Ms. Catherine and Commissioner Khadija Abdul Rahman, our Fulton County. So in 10 days, I had a one-to-one meeting with Juanita, and we discussed the process and explained the process. I gathered all the information and prepare the package for her and explain everything to her. And today we are in July 6th, 5 months later, and Fulton County Public Works is here to answer any concern or any question. So, and I hear everybody is excited about the petition, and I heard also it's almost complete. It's a great thing. So I'm gonna be addressing some questions that I had, and if you have additional questions, I will address them at the end. I will try my best to answer as much as I can. If I'm not, I will try to get you the answer as best as I can. So the cost of this project. This is a big project that we are planning to for sewer extension in that community, in Sandtown community. And the cost, it's hard to tell, but it is approximately between $10 to $20 million project. It's a big project. If you guys decided to not to go to this sewer extension, this money will go toward another community and who are ready to move forward with it. And we have so many applications, north and south in Fulton County, that we are dealing with right now, ready to build and working on the petition. And we have one current one and building and under construction right now. So some of the question that I got originally, and the question is the cost. There's about 10 to 20, as I said, but this is approximate. And construction cost, you cannot tell right now unless you start going further with the project and determine all the parameters that needed to do, the material and all the manpower, because they keep varying, market, it keep going up with this rate these days. So the other question, each homeowner is assessed for a contribution. It is a $20 per foot per frontage of each parcel. This will be assessed based on the frontage of the sewer line of each property. So, and this $20 per foot frontage has been, it's according to our Fulton County Code and Regulation, section 82-188, paragraph 7. So we follow this regulation and we try to build the project according to these rule and regulation. So the $20 is set by the county, I think, for more than 20 years. That I've been with the county for 5 years, but to my knowledge, it's been there for more than 20 years. So if we take an example, and let's say a parcel has a 200 feet frontage, so $20 times 200 feet is about $4,000. And the way it works, once the construction is complete, once we build the pipe, put the pipe in the ground, and we build everything, and it's ready to be connected, 60 days after the construction is complete, we will the finance department will send a bill to each property owner for the assessment and the contribution for that, the $20 times the frontage each parcel. So for $4,000, the way it works, each property has a choice to do either pay it in full, or as the code require, you can put down a payment, 25% of that payment down, and the remaining would be up to 3 years paid out. So for example, $1,000 would be required for the 200-foot frontage, and the remaining $3,000 would be divided, in different payment. And this, every property owner has to discuss that and work it out with the finance department, not us. We're here, we build, and we do all the engineering of it, but the billing is under the finance department with the county. So how long will the project take? The project is approximately 3 years and 3 year plus, depending on a lot of parameters. We have some application going on right now and we're dealing with them, and you guys are next in line. And so what do we require? We require the petition to be signed by 50 plus 1% of the resident within the neighborhood that is assigned in the petition. And once we get the okay, more than the 50%, then we start moving forward with the process. We start surveying and engineering the whole process. Then we have to, we're open to do public hearings with the council, and open for all the residents to either object, whatever. We're here to listen and adjust whatever needed to be adjusted. So then the assessment will be paid after the 60 days of completion. Then it is up to the property owner to connect or not to connect. But this is, everybody will have to bring their own plumber, and they will have to disconnect their own septic and redirect it toward a clean out where we install it from the main line that is on the street. We put a lateral from the main line and a clean out at the right of way of each property. And it's a pipe with a plug where the plumber will have to connect from the house to that plug. And so that will be flowing. And then also each property owner, once they do that, are responsible to dismantle the septic tank in the ground, either fill it up with sand or remove it from the ground. And it's your choice, and it's property owner cost, whatever need be. So will the sewer project coincide with City of South Fulton sidewalk and street repaving project? Yes, definitely. And it's a good idea to be working, Fulton County to be working with the City of South Fulton to see any project that is due within that community, any sidewalk project, for example, any storm drain project that need to be done. As we're working, the city will work with us. I have been contacting the city, and Public Work is ready to, listen and try to work with them on any adjustment that needed to be done. So the other question was, will the sewer upgrade increase the property value? I am an engineer, and I would say yes, but I don't know how much. And this is a big, the $1 million question, that how much, and all of these questions is the value of that property would be. It will increase, it will improve, but this is something has to be dealt with the real estate agent or whatever. Okay, so I'm here to listen. These are the questions that I got, and I'm here to listen to any additional question that you guys have, and any, yeah, the floor is open now.
Mr. Bechara, before we entertain questions, I think it would be a good idea if you and Ms. Marbury and maybe Councilman Rowell can chime in to give the community an idea of how we got the money, how it all came about, and where it's going to start. I understand that you have commitments to connect to it from some residents already. So kind of give us an idea of where it's going to start and how all of this came about, so they can have a better understanding of the history of the project.
Back in January, I had a couple residents who live around the Boat Rock area inquire about sewer in the area because they're currently on septic. And as a result of that, of course, that's not provided by the city. So I reached out to the county to understand the process, and me and Commissioner Abdul Rahman hosted a town hall to really walk through the process. And what I found out is that I had a number of areas in District 1 that are still on septic. The one that stepped forward was Boat Rock. They were most eager, but I also have a number of residents on septic on Wallace Road and also along Cascade Road. But again, Boat Rock kind of ran with it. And so they have met with Alberto to find out the process, find out what houses are currently on septic and what houses would need to sign off on the petition. We've had one kind of open house at the Southwest Arts Center to ask people to stop by and sign. So I've been helping, at least in terms of providing space and any technical assistance that the neighborhood champion, and that's what they're considered, neighborhood champions of this project, to support them in that endeavor. So that's how we got there. This area covers Boat Rock, Elva Drive, part of Hamilton Road, Bruce Place. That's the target area that we're talking about as it stands now.
Yes.
Many of the subdivisions along newer subdivisions, and I say new, quote unquote, 25 years, like Regency Hill, they're already on sewer. They're not on septic, but again, more of our legacy neighbors and communities who were there before these subdivisions, they are not. And that's the area we're trying to address.
Great. Yeah, that is correct.
Does anyone have any questions? This is exciting. I know a lot of residents, and particularly the people on Wallace Road, have always voiced an interest in getting off of septic onto the sewer.
Well, we
And-
hope a neighborhood champion will come forth. When we had the town hall, well, we might have had some representatives. We haven't had somebody say they wanted to take on that area. And from what I understand, this money is available due to some federal infrastructure money, and when it's gone, it's gone. So we want to take advantage of it while it's available to kind of bring things up to date.
And that's what I thought, and I think residents need to understand, this is not going to linger on. It is not something that Fulton County has the money to do. It's like the funds are available, and we want to take advantage.
I'm so sorry to interject, everyone. I did not formally introduce myself. My name is Terry Peters. I work with Fulton County. How are you? And good to see you again, Catherine. I was at the town hall held by you and Council Woman Khadijah. And I just wanted to say, you know, just wanted to talk about the funding and how we address the funding with regard to these types of projects on a yearly basis. Is extremely important for the community, of course, to choose a champion, someone that is going to stay in contact with the neighbors, and also be that, you know, that point of contact for Alberto, and of course always be pushing these projects. These particular projects are funded as part of our yearly capital funding, and so it is of course limited, and is very ideal for us if we're going to point these funds in the right place, that a community get in front of us and get in contact with us and keep their project at the forefront of Alberto's mind as he's completing these and of course many other tasks. As far as funding on a yearly basis, we're seeing a growing need, especially in South Fulton, for these type of projects to continuously be funded. And because of that, Director Clark and myself have made it a priority to make sure that the extension on these sewer petitions and extensions are funded every year. This is not grant money. This is coming out of our capital request that happens on a yearly basis. And because we realize that communities are so interested in continuing the growth, continuing the improvements in their neighborhoods, this is something that will be ongoing. But once again, it is definitely first come, first serve. It's limited funding on a yearly basis. We're looking to increase that. But right now it stands usually in the neighborhood of about $4 to $5 million a year. Right. Mm-hmm. And we've allowed that to build up to the point where projects that coming way more expensive than that we can address. But at the same time, the further ahead that we know about the project, the longer that it remains in the queue with Alberto and the community champions, the better that project has of being addressed in an earlier portion of the time frame. Just wanted to say that and introduce myself to everybody and say hi.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank
saw
you for
some-
that, Mr. Peters. I think the key word is limited funds, and this one particular project is more than they have allocated. So again, we really I want to support in any way I can the residents who've asked about this and try to make sure, again, we keep it in the forefront of the Public Works Department at the county level. And so our goal is to make sure by the end of July, hopefully, that we have all the signatures in place and have submitted this to the county. That's the target date.
So what's the percentage of signatures do you have so far?
I can't say that, but I know it's 50+1 is the requirement, I think.
Okay. Well, what can we do as an organization to help?
Well, we thought it would be important to let residents hear about the process and that this was underway. I know Ms. Jenday, who lives on Elva Drive, and Ms. Marbury are working very closely together. So if you want to help, they're calling and door knocking. They're working really hard on this. And so I'm sure they'd love to support. But again, it's in those areas, Elva, Bruce Place, Boat Rock. So if you know some neighbors who live in that area that may not be on this call sharing this information, and we'll share this video with them later, I think that will make it a little easier for them to secure the remaining signatures they need. But they're working really diligently.
Well, what we can also do for them, if those community champions want to be regularly on our agenda every month, because we will meet, we won't take any time off. We've had a lot of projects and things happening in the community. They are welcome to have a standing place on the agenda so they can give us updates. And again, our meetings are recorded and will be posted on the website as well. And I'll try to remember when I do calling posts to talk about the sewer project so we can get the community engaged.
Ms. Davis, this is Jendai Brandon Sal. I'd just like to say I did try to post the flyer that Councilwoman Rowell provided to me. I tried to post it on Nextdoor, but every time I go back, I have to actually do a search to find it. So I will continue to try to make it so that it's visible. And we can also drive people to Nextdoor where Juanita's number and my number is available. And they can call and we can arrange to either get to them or they can meet up with us to sign the petition. So it's just another avenue of of access.
And I'll be sending out additional information too. We'll identify another location for people to meet up and sign in the very near future. Again, trying to get this done in July is the goal.
Harvey, is there anything that we can post on our website to help them get the petition out, or is there any ideas you may have?
I can post it on our Facebook page as the website, the gamut. My observation about Nextdoor is that it's not the pleasant place that it used to be. And a lot of times you'll have people come out from left field opposing things that are otherwise common sense. So it's been a year and a half and I feel liberated now that I'm not on Nextdoor, but we can certainly post it on Facebook, our website, and send out mass emails.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I got a question, Debbie.
Go right ahead.
If you're on sewer now, do you have to go? No, if you're on septic tank now, do you have to go on sewer?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I think I'm sorry, Mr. Bechara, I'll let you answer.
Yes, no, but the assessment fee and the frontage fee, we will have to be responsible for that. So,
But for you, Ms. Lee in particular, you're not in this group, so you wouldn't be affected in any way.
Thank
Let
you.
me get specific. I read your mind.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Go, Stephanie, go right ahead.
Hi, I just want to mention to the residents about the benefits of being on sewer, such as less maintenance. You don't have to deal with, doing that monthly rid-X or worrying about heavy rains or usage of garbage disposal, or just, the regular cleanings that you have to do. And from a realtor standpoint, I never hear people say that, oh, I want to be on septic. I hear them say, I don't want to be on septic. So you would make your home more attractive, if you're thinking about selling it in the future, if you're on sewer. And also I spoke with an appraiser just to find out, get feedback from him. So it doesn't, he said it doesn't really affect the value of your home, but the benefits of being on sewer, that you don't have to worry about all the maintenance and those types of things. So that's certainly some benefits that could be portrayed to people as you try to get this petition signed.
Any other questions?
Ms. Deborah, I have
Yes.
one question for Alberto. Alberto, when we start the project, I know on the list of streets that we have is 10 streets, although some of them are very small, but there are 10 streets. Where would we start? The beginning of the project.
Which start? We have to, well, that's a tough question to answer at this moment. We have to look at the lowest, it's, I think Binden and, hold on, let me check. Binden and, okay, Binden and Elva Drive. This is where mainly we're gonna be going down that area. It's a Fulton County park, Crow Park, Trammell Crow Park, and we may have to connect to one of the sewer line down there, and that it would be determined once we start the process.
Thank you.
It's hard to tell which street, but I believe this is where the best starting point for that. From the lowest point up, we go.
Thank you. Also, Alberto, the bill that you talked about, would that be billed through the county, or is that on the water bill? How will we receive that bill?
Yeah, it would come on the regular water and sewer bill.
Okay.
And which come from the finance department of, I think you get the, because you have a bill from City of Atlanta, right? The water and
Yes.
the sewer is added to that, right?
Okay. Perfect.
Okay, but then it would be under that bill, but the sewer would we will deal with it. So we'll have to call our finance department, and they will have to kind of work it out with each individual, divide it, whatever need be to be done.
Thank you.
Either pay it full or whatever installment along the process.
Any other questions from anyone else? Well, thank you, Mr. Bechara, and thank you, Ms. Marbury, for that information. I'm excited, and I hope the residents in the area are excited. I was told many years ago when I first joined the Sandtown Community Association that Fulton County, there was a deal with Fulton County and Atlanta about putting sewer in this area, and it has been going on for a long time. So it is exciting to see that it is beginning to come in certain areas, particularly to the legacy communities. And then as the newer communities are developed, they are adding the sewer. So thank you so much. And we appreciate it. And we'll go to the next agenda item. Mr. Hilliard, are you on the line, and you can introduce your guest that you have brought with you?
Thanks very much. I hope you can hear me all right. My name is Hakim Hilliard, and I'm the lawyer for Hutch Development. Sorry I can't make my video work, but that's probably to everybody's benefit. You don't have to look at me. I am here by myself this evening on behalf of Hutch Development to give you an update on its progress since the rezoning was approved by the city of South Fulton. They regret that they can't be here with us this evening, and I'll qualify my report by saying I'm a little bit out of my lane talking about development issues after the zoning, but I will do my best to answer all your questions. And if I can't, I will get back to you immediately to answer the questions. But I think I've got some pretty good information to share with you briefly here. First, I'd say, and as you know, there's not been any shovels moving any dirt on the property as of yet, but I want you to know that there's been a lot of activity going on behind the scenes with Hutch Development. Just recently, the Georgia Department of Transportation has given its initial approval to begin the design on the multi-lane roundabout at Campbellton Road and Reynolds Road. We've completed additional survey and field work required to get the design ready package, and Kimley Horn, the firm that worked with us and with GDOT through the zoning process, is leading the effort. Kimley Horn is also serving as a civil engineer for the project, and they've been working on building out a mass grading plan for the entire project. There's a lot of challenges many of you are aware of with the topo and the rock on the 60-acre site. So they've had to do a lot of additional survey work along the entire property, as well as on Campbellton Road and Camp Creek Parkway. We've completed schematic design, which readies the site for grading and utility plans at a concept level. And we are full steam ahead on design and development, which includes demo of the site grading, drainage, utilities, storm and sewer profiles, erosion control, and construction details. We're also excited to share that we're at the final stages of design development, and we expect to submit this plan to the city for land disturbance review within the next 6 to 8 weeks. That schedule places us on an opportunity to build out for 2026. Hutch is closing on the purchase of the parcels in the next few months, though, having met all the goals. The seller having met all the goals to complete the purchase price. All the issues that we talked about during the zoning process and the plan that we created are still in effect as planned. The one thing that we were talking about during the zoning process, if you remember, that there's a lot of interest in retailers for the commercial piece, and that interest has just grown exponentially, I'm told, from a lot of exciting potential restaurants. And I think the type that we were talking about, not necessarily the fast food, but the sit down. Unfortunately, we're not able to, Hutch is not able to enter into any formal dialogue about these opportunities until they get the project further along. So that's where we are in the process right now. As everybody knows, we're in some interesting economic headwinds right now. Hutch is working through them and are committed to deliver the project, though, as proposed. And so that's the general report. I'm here to answer any questions you might have, specific questions about what's happening now or what's happening related to some of the questions you had about the project.
Does anyone have any questions about the project on Wallace, off of Wallace and Hamilton? Well, I'm excited about it. Glad to see it coming. So you won't have any sewer issues because you will have the infrastructure, right?
That is the plan, and that's the charge that GDOT has placed on us. Yes.
Okay. Cool. Do we have any other questions for Mr. Hilliard? All righty. Well, thank you for that.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I have a question.
Sure.
When will we know that property is available? Like if their buyer's already interested, how would we know when it's time?
You mean for
Are
the
you talking
individual?
about this one or in general?
No, I'm talking about this one.
When you say buyers, I think what he's saying, he is purchasing the land, and that's gonna close in a few weeks on the land. So are you talking about when the build out and when buyers?
Yeah, for the build out.
Okay.
Well, we anticipate the build out to be complete in 2026. So I imagine
Okay.
shortly thereafter.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, thank you so much again, Mr. Hilliard, for joining us. And, you know, you have an open invitation if you want to come back to the community, or I'll reach out to you periodically for you to give updates.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Have a good
All
evening.
right, Mr. Crawford, you're
Yes,
on.
ma'am.
Mr. Crawford is here, and I think he has several guests, so I'm going to let him introduce them to talk about the development that he is proposing for the city. You've got the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. A bit like Hakim, I'm having video problems, and I even wash my face and comb my hair, so I'm disappointed it's not working, but I'm going to try to get it.
You want me to share? Because I can.
There you go. There you
It
go.
comes and it goes. Okay, I think maybe it's on now. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Excuse me, in thinking about being with you all tonight to introduce this $100 million development at the corner of Campbellton and Cascade Palmetto Highway, I was reminded myself that it was in the year 2000 that I began working with the Sandtown community on issues of common concern, which issues included at the start the Georgia Dock project, which we were all opposed to, and joining forces were able to get that out of the program. And then later on the plans for collaborating on the plans for Sandtown Center, the overlay for Sandtown, and then more recently, the Publix shopping center plan at Camp Creek and Campbellton. Many of you were part of these collaborations, and it's a pleasure to see you and to see your pictures after so many years. I am talking to you from Mexico, as it turns out. It's extremely hot here, but I think it's pretty hot where you are as well. But many of you, of course, were working together with me and with my group on these various developments. And I'm extremely pleased to bring this latest development, which actually happens to be mostly, almost entirely in the Cliftondale district. And there's a small portion of the property that fronts on Campbellton Road, close to the intersection with Fulton Industrial Boulevard and Cascade Palmetto Highway. But the vast majority of the property, and virtually all of the property that is proposed for a downzoning to multifamily is actually in Cliftondale. And we were happy to meet with the Cliftondale Club a few weeks back, made a presentation to them, and we'll be following up with them as well, because most of this project is in Cliftondale. But since it is on the edge of Sandtown, and some of it actually does sit in Sandtown, we wanted to present to you and share our thoughts about the development. First up from our group to introduce you to the development is Randy Beck. And many of you will know Randy because he was the director of planning and community development for Fulton County for many years. And he has since retired, but I brought him out of retirement because of his exceptional knowledge of land use and zoning and planning and so forth. And he'll begin by introducing the project, and then he will be followed by Jay Clark, who is the chairman and founder of Southeast Capital Partners, who has been involved in many excellent and highly awarded projects in and around Metro Atlanta over the past couple of decades. And he is the proposed developer of the multifamily component of the site. So without further ado, even though I'm tempted to reminisce a little bit more with the many familiar faces I see on the call, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Randy Beck.
Randy, you're on mute. You're still on mute. There you go.
That's
There he is.
okay. Let me start.
There you go.
Oh, everyone, sorry about that confusion there. Project. I'm going to start with the location and I'm going to share my screen, talk about it, and then when I'm done with that, I can move on to some zoning, land use, followed by the developer speaking with you. So I'll share my screen.
You're back on mute, Randy. Randy, you're back on mute. There you go. There you go.
Okay, it's not going to allow me to share the screen and talk at the same time, it appears.
Well, hold on. Let me see if I can
Oh,
do
hold
it for you.
on. Let me see if I can do it for you.
Okay.
All right. Just 1 second.
Just 1 second.
Debbie, possibly Jay can put the exhibit up. Possibly.
Hold on 2 seconds. I think I got it.
I think I got it.
Can y'all see?
Yes.
Okay. Can you talk from that, Randy? Can y'all see it? I can't tell what you see. You're
I
on
can
mute.
see it, Madam Chair. I can see the exhibit.
Okay, Randy, you're still on mute. Yeah, you come off of mute and I'll try to drive it for you. There you go. Okay.
There you go.
Okay, I'm off of mute. Can you unmute that screen when I have you shared, or you're not able to unmute?
I don't know what's
happening.
Okay, I'm gonna try this.
Jay, can you put up this? Can you put up this? Jay.
This is Gary. Let me try to do it.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Let me start over again by thanking everybody allowing us to share things here. What you see before you is an overview of the development area, and the red star represents the actual site that the proposed development is going to go on. And if you'll look at that red star and just south of it, you'll see a light green stripe that cuts across the page from east to west. That is a 500-foot wide power easement with high tension power lines in it. That also forms the southern boundary of the site. Below that, you'll see the number 1, and 1 is a plus or minus 85-acre tract of land that is restricted for park use. It's currently owned by Fulton County, but I understand there are conversations between Fulton and the city of South Fulton to transfer that property over. The site on the east side is bound by existing residential development. There is a 50-foot buffer on the residential development side, and it would be, of course, a 50-foot buffer on the project development site. So there would be a 100-foot buffer between the two developments. To the north of that project, across Campbellton Road is the line that's running east-west. Fulton Industrial is running diagonally from northeast to southwest. Directly across, you see the number 3. That's existing warehouse development. And the intersection of Campbellton and Fulton Industrial Boulevard, a treed area, that's undeveloped, and it's currently approved for a mixed-use development of townhomes with retail and office development. Across Fulton Industrial, you'll see the numbers 4 and 5. 5 is a Manheim auto auction development, and that's existing in a site now. 4 is the entrance road off of Fulton Industrial Boulevard into the Amazon warehouse development. And you'll also see number 6 on the north side of Campbellton Road. That site shows in construction, but that now is the Amazon warehouse development. Next to that is number 7, which also is Manheim auto auction property. So that entire quadrant, the northwest quadrant of the intersection of Fulton and Campbellton, is basically developed with industrial development. The northeast that I talked about here is developed with industrial, with some proposed development that would be commercial and residential. The next intersection is the southwest quadrant, and you'll see a green area there that's undeveloped. That is right now currently zoned, I think, residential and AG1 zonings, but the land use plan would suggest higher development there. Next to that, as you move west, is the Anatole subdivision, and that is a subdivision consisting of townhomes. And then we'll move south, Fulton Industrial, to where it turns to Palmetto. You'll see number 8, which is the power line easement I spoke of earlier. And number 9 is an approved community work development that also fronts on Cochrane, I think it's Cochrane Road there, and it goes by the water treatment plant down there, and then that brings you back across to the quadrant that the proposed project is in. So with that, I'll move on to talk about the zoning and land use of the property. The property is currently zoned and approved 400,000 plus square feet of commercial use. In 2017, the city of South Fulton adopted Fulton County's land use plan, which showed the site in a regional live-work node at the intersection of Fulton Industrial and Campbellton Road. This regional live-work node suggested high-density commercial, office, and residential development is appropriate for the site. In 2021, the city of South Fulton adopted their South Fulton development plan, which downgraded the land use on this property from regional live work to suburban residential, which would only permit to be rezoned to residential developments of 3 units per acre or less. This made the current zoning of the density property that we're talking, commercial property that we're talking about, inappropriate, but still developable by that high density commercial development. The current request seeks to downgrade the current commercial zoning to something less intense, while still fighting for the transitional nature of the site, as previously discussed when I talked about where we were located with residential on one side and a mix of industrial and commercial properties on the other sides. So that gives you an idea of where we are, what location we are, and what the land use and zoning issues are. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jay, and he will discuss the actual development itself. Jay, are you on the line?
There we go.
There we go.
Now I'm working. Hey. Basically, Doug and I met about a year and a half ago on this particular site. And I told him, well, I asked if we could go at a less dense site plan because he has hopefully the park will be behind us. So we came up with a plan that created a boulevard and a lot of green spaces. So I'm not sure we're going to necessarily use the name, but the thought is we're calling it Park. And it's similar to a property we did at North Lake. We called that Green Park because we had a park entry. And in this one, it's configured a little differently, but we still have boulevard park effect. And in front of each building, we have, green space. The other part we did is create a buffer, D.R. Horton development, single family on the plan right. And Gary, I don't know if you have that site.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I dropped off my connection for a second. What would you like me to present?
Would you mind pulling up the site plan?
Sure. Apologies for cutting out in the middle of the last presentation.
No, I think we're having a few issues. So if you look to the right, that's the DR. Not that neat because honestly, there's a self-built-in buffer anyway because of the stream buffer, and then you have all the wood line. We just thought it'd make it a good feel, having the residential, more of a residential feel there, 2-story homes. And then to the left, we put what we call garden flat buildings, which are 3 stories. So hopefully you can visually see there's a lot of good green space, and that was really the objective. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, continue.
So the frontage that'll if you don't mind, Doug, can you speak to the commercial, the retail up front?
Well, the actually probably most important to the Sandtown Association is there's about 8 or 9 acres in the front, as I recall, fronting on Campbellton Road and adjacent to the gas convenience that's on the corner there. And we are proposing to leave the commercial zoning in place for that parcel. And once it's known about the approval of the multifamily, we would solicit retail interest from the retail community. We have a consultant that would recommend highest users that would be interested in this market once the establishment of the apartments is completed. So we're reserving the frontage of the property for, it could possibly be 3 or 4 out parcels, restaurants, banks, miscellaneous retail, could be some strip in there. But my suspicion is that with the quality and the appearance of this multifamily and its key location at this very important corner, it's the intersection of 2 state highways, that we will be able to attract very fine prospects for that retail. But we're saving that because the degree to which the quality of the retailers interested in that site will be directly related to the amount of built-in market that the apartments would provide.
Thank you. Hey, Gary, would you mind moving to the next slide, please? So what you're looking at now would be the front entry. You can see to the right is one of the garden apartments. And Gary, go one more. You can see we added garages within these buildings. You can see the brown doors. So every building, every corner has 3 garages. So we honestly did that because we seem to get a pretty big demand and a pretty good higher rent dollar by adding that. Gary, go one more. Then you can see that a little bit closer. we're finishing a property in Augusta, Georgia. We did similar garages. I think we only had 16 on that one. On this one, I think we have 28. Anyway, out of the 16, we've already rented 14 and we're 50% leased. So they've been real popular. And maybe move to the next one, Gary. And those are our cottages. We did similar product at North Lake. It's basically the ground level is a living condition, and then you have 2 bedrooms upstairs. So it's basically a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath. We seem to get a more mature audience with the cottages based on our experience with Green Park at North Lake. And this product actually came from our for sale experience. We literally took off 1 level. So we took off the garage level, and so we did this product quite a few other times. I think that's the last one, maybe, Gary. Is there one more? And there's a pool. Does anyone have any questions or?
I do. My name is Lynn Reed, and I live actually close to this.
Yes, ma'am.
You guys has an environmental study or will an environmental study be done with this sitting so close to a gas station and a power line?
Yes, we'll do. Yes, we'll do environmental study. The traffic.
Jay, hold on. I need for everybody to not get on mute because we get feedback. Go ahead, Jay.
Sorry, I'm off mute now. Yes, we will do environmental studies. We also will do a traffic study. One thing I failed to mention, if you look plan center and go left, that's Cabinet Drive. That basically takes you out. So there's 2 access points to get to the major intersection and ingress, egress. So that's one thing that's helpful.
Okay, so, and I don't want to take up a lot of time here, but there's a proposed project very similar, I shouldn't say very similar, that's going to be, I guess, across from you guys on the other side of Cascade Palmetto. Has that been taken in consideration? And this is more what potentially costs, number one, and number two, there are other, and I don't know, are these apartments or what are these condos, townhomes? What are these, and what is the volume of people you guys are thinking about bringing in, or how many are you guys trying to build out here? Because we have 2 other major projects right down the road on Camelton that are opening up that will be causing additional congestion on Camelton Road, which is only a 2-lane highway or state road. And just wondering if, you know, the infrastructure to support all of these people coming in this vicinity is taken in consideration.
Yes, ma'am. Basically we have to do a traffic study, and then between DOT and the city, if there's offsite improvements, we are required to make those improvements to move forward. To answer the other question, there's 314 apartment homes. And we have another schedule to show the various types of product.
Okay. And again, it seems like it's maybe similar to what's coming on the other side of Cascade Palmetto. So just wondering, you know, why this site here was selected. And I know you guys probably have certain properties, but it just seems like it's just going to be way too much congestion once all these developments start coming and popping up.
Honestly, I'm not really sure of the one you're referring to. The ones I am aware are closer to the new Publix.
Camp Creek.
Pardon?
Closer to Camp Creek.
Yeah, Camp Creek.
Well, this one will be directly across. It'll be on Cascade Palmetto. I don't know the timeline on it, but they're talking about retail, apartment buildings, residential. It's part of a bigger project. Again, I don't know the timelines, but I went to, they had a meeting on it maybe last year. And it just seems like it's kind of this is going to bring in so much traffic congestion. It's almost scary that I feel like I'm going to have to walk to everywhere I need to go because of all the development popping up in these really small sections like this.
Well, if I may, this is Doug Crawford. If I may answer that question from my perspective, there's a huge demand, never before seen anything like what it is now. And I think the public officials who are on the call can certainly verify that. There is a huge demand for locating families and businesses in the city of South Fulton. It's just huge. It's been ignored for 50 years. And like most things that are ignored for a long time, finally they get their day in the sun. And we welcome every project that is being offered that bears the scrutiny of the staff and of the political leadership and of the community leadership. We welcome the development around the corner and certainly hope that it gets off the ground. We know ours is going to get off the ground because we have the best site in the area. It's at the intersection of two state highways, and it has an 80-acre park that is an amenity for the residents that choose to be there. So I hope that answers your question. It's just a tremendous demand for people to move into the city of South Fulton.
Yeah, and I don't know where you live, but are you guys considering the congestion in our schools, the congestion? I know you said you're going to do a traffic study, but I've yet to see these roads expand to keep up with the development that you guys are bringing. And I'm not discounting it, and I'm also welcoming it, but I think that the infrastructure, the way it is today, is never being taken in consideration when you guys pop all of these developments up and we continue to ride down these 2-lane roads behind people. So I'm just asking that because I live here. I'm not a native of this area, Hamilton Road. I won't even go on Hamilton Road now. And this isn't even considering the other 2 developments that have yet to open at certain times because the traffic is all the way from Fulton Industrial to Camp Creek at certain times of the day and evening or when it's rush hour. So again, I mean, I don't know if anybody else has a concern, but that has always been my concern when I hear about these developments coming along. And like I said, I'm not opposed to it, but I just think we need infrastructure being built out as you guys are throwing more homes and apartment buildings up and flooding our areas with projects like this. So I'm gonna leave it alone, but that's my concern as somebody who lives directly in this area.
Well, ma'am, this is Doug Crawford again. I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. And I think it's incumbent upon the stakeholders, many of which are on this call, to come together and make the powers that be, both the city, the county, and the state. That's Georgia DOT. Remember, Georgia DOT controls the 2 intersections, the 2 streets that meet at this intersection, and make them realize that the city of South Fulton is not asleep anymore. It's been asleep, but Rip Van Winkle has awakened, and now they need to get their act together. And if we move together with them, I'm quite sure they will provide the infrastructure because that's their requirement. That's government's requirement, is to provide infrastructure for communities. And we work together, we'll get it. That's how we
okay. I hear you, Mr. Crawford, because I know I was at another meeting and Dana Lemon was there and they didn't know about certain developments. So she says, and she's maybe aware of this, but again, and I know you guys, you have more powers than you probably want to let on to help build this infrastructure out. So again, that's great. You're working with GDOT. Would love to see that road expand before all of this comes and we can't even get around. So again, like I said, not opposed to development. I came from a huge city. I just want to make sure that that is being heard. You guys do these traffic studies and say we're good to go. So just like I said, I'm just throwing that out there, and I don't know if anybody else has the same concern.
Well,
This is Councilwoman Rowell. I want to respond, not necessarily about this project, but to answer a couple, Ms. Lynn's, I'm sorry, I don't know your last names, questions. And I also have a question. Does this project have to go under a DRI?
No.
It does not. Okay. Second, the project we just heard, I think we spent a year vetting through that project, and it's not slated to go to 2026 because of working things out with GDOT. I think in front of the project that you're referenced, if you notice, the road is beginning to be widened along Hamilton Road. You see it right now in front of Story Riverside, and you'll see it as the traffic light is installed at Hamilton and Stonewall Tail. So a lot of that is based on the development as it comes. And also what we heard today, the requirements GDOT would require on this project to come in 2026, that they've had to work through that with the state. So, you know, this is the beginning of the process. I just want to say that. I mean, it won't answer all your questions because we don't have all the answers today, but I did want to let you know that that would, even though a DRI, the traffic impact would have to be looked at, and GDOT would weigh in on this, even if ARC does not, because of its intersection at two roads.
Well, thank you very much, Councilwoman. This is Doug again. Let me just add one thing. He's not on the team call tonight, but our traffic consultant on this project is the former director of planning for Georgia DOT and the vice commissioner. He's in private practice now. That's why we're able to hire him. But I think you can foresee that there will be excellent access to Georgia DOT that controls these two roads through this relationship. I mean, you gotta get a meeting before you can get an answer, and we can get the meeting. Let's put it that way.
I know, I think I saw Harold Reed on the call. I'm sorry. Miss Terry, I didn't see your hand. Go right ahead.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having this space for us to learn some more things. I just have two questions. I am not a real estate expert, so if you've heard these before, bear with me. Okay, so my first question is about the trash area. Is this the standard size? Should we expect a second trash area for a development this big, or is this the standard size that we're going to go with if this is approved? That's question number one.
It's a standard.
That's standard.
Yes, it'll be land and so forth, but it is standard size.
Okay, just looking at what I know about our traffic issues and where our mobility is, I'm just wondering if we need to have some more of that. My second question is about your proposal. Is this the second time that you've done a public question time? Because I've heard about a proposal before that was supposed to be built behind BP, and I was not sure if you all are the same company and you came back with improvements. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. This is the second. We had one a couple weeks ago.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I thought I saw Harold Reed on the line, who is from Cliftondale. Since the majority of this development is in the Cliftondale community, I'd like to hear what his feel is on this development and what the community is saying.
The same concerns that have been raised this evening were raised when it was presented to the Cliftondale Community Club, because the traffic issue is a big issue. Now, there are other little small things units per acre based on the land use plan. This one slightly exceeds that. But that's something that can be worked out. But again, the traffic issue is the biggest bugaboo because as it was mentioned earlier, certain times of the day from the intersection of Cascade, Palmetto, Fulton Industrial and Campbellton Road, in the evening, traffic heading west is backed up pretty much to Stonewall Tail Road. And heading east on Campbellton Road, that same traffic light will back up traffic all the way to the Chattahoochee River. So there would need to be major improvements to Campbellton Road to allow a development of this scope to go into that area. There will be some improvements, I'm sure, that will be coming to Cascade Palmetto just because of the increase in truck traffic going to the intermodal facility. But again, I don't have any sort of timeline on that. GDOT is the major player, as 166 is a state road. I know they were attempting to widen 166 back in the, I guess it was in the early 80s. And at the time it was the residents, as I recall, did not want it. But
correct.
Again, now we're at a point whereas with this level of development and just the increase in bodies, GDOT needs to make Campbellton Road at minimal 5 lanes from Camp Creek Parkway all the way to the Chattahoochee River.
Oh, no. You do not want a 5-lane. That is what happens in every black. I know, but that is what destroys every African American community with all of these highways and byways going down, egress, taking property, and all of that. That is why we have worked very hard to put traffic calming measures in place.
Debbie, I would ask you to go into Forsyth County to see how modern roads are built and how they are accessed. Again, I don't know what the solution would be to accommodate this size of a development at that intersection. But right now, before one shovel of dirt has been turned, that intersection, I'm sure, rates an F by GDOT standards.
Well, we have to bring GDOT to the, as Councilman Rowell has articulated, you have to bring GDOT at the table at the beginning of these projects so that they can do the traffic studies and understand what how the roads need to be expanded, like the corner of Stonewall Tail and Campbellton. That developer on the right-hand side put up some money to help with that traffic light and to help with that curve and all of the things that's going to happen. And many of you heard earlier that Mr. Hilliard has finished his work with the DOT with the corner of Campbellton and Wallace Road, that development and what's going to happen at that intersection and all of that. So GDOT has to be at the table. It's unfortunate that they don't come to the table until the developments happen. And that's what we have learned. We've had traffic issues out here before the development started to come. And when it slows up, they move on and take their money elsewhere where there's a lot of things happening. But to put a 5-lane highway through a residential community, that's a no-no. There are all kinds of traffic calming measures that you can put in place instead of a 5-lane highway, just to destroy the beautification of the area, to take land from property owners off of Hamilton Road, that is not a good solution. I'm sorry, Mr. Reed, but I disagree with that. Mr. Hilliard? You're up. Mr. Hilliard, you got your hand up? Mr. Hilliard, can you hear me? If you're there, I don't see you.
Yeah,
You
if
must
we
be
can,
on mute.
if we can stop sharing. Who's there?
I don't see Mr. Hilliard. Are there any other questions or concerns? One of the things that I would like to say, Doug, is that, and you know, this is a pet peeve of mine, when the Carter development that's going up there right at right by the Publix, and that is an apartment community. The agreement we had up front is don't come with the commercial development if this, it's all coming at the same time. And because, you know, Sandtown Center doesn't have the commercial piece that it was supposed to have either. Right. And so we have to make sure that if you're going to bring a residential a community like that, you need to make sure that the commercial comes along with it. It cannot lag. And that was a condition of zoning that we put in place with Carter. And so Carter has its commercial piece that's following, and it's coming right along. So we hope that if this development get approved by the community and the rezoning and all of that, that the commercial piece comes right along at the same time.
Well, let me say this, Madam Chair. We will plan to come back to Sandtown, come back to Cliftondale as well. But Cliftondale will be the minor partner in that discussion, and Sandtown will be the major partner in that discussion. Once we have seriously started soliciting the quality or the types of tenants that the community and we would like to see there. And I think we're going to have a very good choice, to be honest with you. And Hakim said the same thing. He's already getting interest. Now, they're not signing anybody because it's just too early. And that's not the way the real estate commercial market works. However, we don't plan to put anything there, whatever right we may have, without consulting with Sandtown. You know that. I've been consulting with Sandtown for 25 years. And I don't think I've ever done a single thing that Sandtown didn't approve, and I don't plan to start now. So I think your point is extremely well taken. I don't think Carter has lived up to that agreement if they agreed to it. If they did agree to it, I think it was foolish on their part. I know you disagree with me on that, and that's fine. I even disagree with my wife on occasion, but I love her dearly. But I do think that the timing of these things is the better retailers come to the table when they know exactly what kind of built-in market they're going to have, what the traffic is going to be. They do studies for that before they decide. I brought the Chipotle, frankly, or assisted in bringing the Chipotle to the development, which I was an owner of at one time at Camp Creek and Campbellton. And I'm bringing a Chipotle and a Peachtree Healthcare to Cascade Road. And of course, I brought the Applebee's there as well. So we're going to solicit the best tenants that we can, but the timing of that, even though the communities prefer otherwise, and I have every bit of empathy for that, it's just not the way it works to the advantage of the community, because we could solicit tenants now, and I can guarantee you they would be lower grade tenants. They may not be bad tenants, but they will be lower grade tenants than the tenant pool we will solicit once the apartments are a known entity. And I'm just talking about planning now. They don't even have to be built. They just have to know that they're going to have a built-in captive market in addition to the market of all this traffic that everybody is talking about. And I totally agree with that. But retailers love traffic. So communities hate traffic. Retailers love traffic. Communities want high-end tenants. They want Houstons. They want sit-down restaurants. Those restaurants want traffic. They want density. You know, there's a little bit of a disconnect there, but we try to make the best of it. And
well, we get it. We get that density. I mean, we understand that you have to have a diverse market for a lot of the retail establishments to survive. And that's why we were very careful with when we approved the Carter development right there at near the Publix, because the foot traffic will be different. It will have all of that retail space. But Doug, I'm being honest with you now, and you know I always will be. You've been with us, you've been developing over here, and Sandtown Center did not live up to what it was sold at. And it was supposed to have retail establishment, that was part of it. And the reason why I say it, because I know someone who purchased in there for that very reason. And they recently got transferred out, and they now lived in Macon and moved to Brookhaven. And that has been a thorn in her side, because that was the first house that she built and purchased at Sandtown Center. And she said, Deb, the retail never came. And so we can't have developers do that to us. And I'm not saying you did it intentionally. I'm not saying any of that, but I just want to keep that to the forefront. We don't want this lagging. We want it. And now that we do have people interested in coming to the community, and we don't know if the bottom is going to fall out. We just don't know. But we got to keep these things in lockstep with each other. We can't say, I'm going to come back in a couple of years. No, we got to have it in lockstep, because that's what the residents expect. Otherwise,
Debbie, I'm believe it or not, I'm more disappointed than you are by far that we have been unable to attract the retail tenants that we sought when we got the mixed-use development approved at Sandtown. Everything else, including, I believe, in another couple of months, we'll see this market seniors begin to take shape, has actually occurred pretty much according to the script that you and I and Brenda and a bunch of other people on this call tonight arranged 20 years ago. But, you know, John Perlman and I tried for 20 years to get Publix to make a commitment to this community. And it wasn't for lack of effort. John was calling them 6 times a year, and I was calling them 6 times a year. Finally, I think they just got tired and said, we don't want to take your calls anymore. We're just going to build out there. And I'm
well,
sure
they made a mistake. I mean, Publix made a mistake in the development at Camp Creek Marketplace. And they underestimated the community, which a lot of people do. The Publix made a mistake, and they corrected their mistake by putting that Publix. And not to say that you all didn't have any effort, but the truth of the matter is the foot traffic up there at Publix was much more than they ever thought. I don't stop at that Publix because it's too small. It's not enough parking spaces up there. Too many people shop there. So I'm glad to have the Publix down here. But Publix made a mistake, and they realized their mistake. That has something to do with it as well. So I just want to be honest and clear. We're excited about development all through the city of South Fulton, no question. But we as an organization have to be strategic and understand and make developers understand that, we want to do the right thing for the community, and we don't want to leave them high and dry. And if the retail piece is gonna come, the same effort to put the residential need to be put in to make sure that the commercial piece comes. Because people will need to shop, people will need to do all the things they need to do. And right now the timing is right. Everybody, the South Fulton, people want to move here. Our area, 1 and 2, we're kind of ahead of the game in terms of development, and we want to move it forward. So, and since this community is in the Cliftondale area, it is important that the residents that surround that community are on board. And I think you need to make sure that you meet them, and Harold Reed can lead that effort, since you all have already met with them, to make sure you create the type of community that they want. So
Right.
that's just
We'll
my
leave it.
comment.
No, and I'm with you all the way. There's no disagreement there. I mean, we're disappointed as anybody that it hasn't gone faster, but there is momentum now. I don't know, it took a while for Rip Van Winkle to wake up, but now that he's awake, he's really energized. And it's a totally different situation out there, which I love, because I get tired of making, 6 phone calls a year to the same tenant to tell me the same thing, which is what Publix and Kroger and a few others did for 20 years. And then finally, John, God bless him, said, guys, you're just making a huge mistake and you better come here, or Lidl or Aldi or Whole Foods or somebody is going to come and capture this market. And of course, that was a legitimate argument. I think they will capture this market at some point. We will get those people, but there are some that are leaders and some that are followers, and most retailers are followers. They want to see rooftops before they make it. Now, as you said, Publix is they're delighted. They were wrong. They know they were wrong. They were late, but now they're enjoying. They did make the decision. Some of the others, Kroger to be one. I'm still hammering Kroger to try to get them to look at a site. No, we're just not. Well, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And we're leading them. We're dragging them, and we would welcome the participation, arm in arm, with the Harveys and with the Debras and with the Marilyns and whatever, and the Harolds, to come with us to DOT, to come with us to some of these key tenants that we're trying to persuade to understand that they're foolish by not considering a location in this neighborhood. That's good for the neighborhood. It's good for the community. It's good for my investors. It's good for my wife and family. Everybody benefits. But it takes a group effort, and we're prepared to be a part of that group. We always have been, and we will be. So I'm with you, Debbie. I'm totally with you.
So what's the next step? I mean, Councilman Rowell, this is in Councilman Gumbs' district, right?
Yeah, this is not my district. I think Councilwoman Gumbs is on. She definitely has more information on this, so I wouldn't feel comfortable speaking to it.
Yes, Councilwoman Gumbs was on the call, but she had to drop off to attend a memorial and was going to try and get back, but it's 8 o'clock, so I don't know that that'll happen at this meeting.
We've met with her several times, actually, and we've met with the Director of Development, and and we're going to meet again with Harold Reed and Cliftondale. We're not assuming anything at this point. There are loose ends here, but we're presenting what we think is an excellent program that can get better by joint collaboration, as is our custom. So we welcome additional input. We welcome criticism. We hope it's constructive, but we welcome criticism.
There's a question, John, that I can't, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, please forgive me. John Daya?
It's Jindai.
Jindai, okay.
Yeah, thank you. So this is just a general statement. When these types of developments are proposed, are the city leaders looking at recreational capacity, soccer fields, softball fields, tennis courts, basketball courts, et cetera, for children, and not just the children of the development, but the children of the community that may be living in legacy housing that's not necessarily in the HOA, for instance.
Yes. We developed a park master plan that had a lot of citizen input. We started actually before the pandemic and we finished it during the pandemic. It is a plan. We have 17 parks in the city. We talked about expanding trails system that connects through the city. You can view that plan on the city's website. And we currently have the Sandtown Recreation Center under renovation as we speak. Likely tentatively scheduled for a grand reopening in August.
How about swimming pools? I think like
all of that is contemplated. Everything, that master plan contemplates well over $100 million in investment. And of course, with a plan that's that aggressive, that doesn't happen overnight. but we have a vision. We had, what's his name? Carlos Perez, who is he's done some amazing work with park systems all around this country. He did the plan for Aerotropolis. He's just really well respected. He did our master plan. Again, those are things that we've cast a vision. We have to engage with community as we grow, because you have to fund all of these things. So more to come about that, but we have started with improving what we already own as a starting point. Many of those buildings have not been renovated and they're under renovation as we speak.
Excellent, thank you. I will take a look at that.
I'm adding the link to the chat now.
Are there any other questions, y'all? We've had a robust and good conversation. We've had a lot of information shared tonight. It's 8:05. Are there any other questions that anyone have of any of the presenters today?
Just one more quote. What is the name of this proposal, Mr. Crawford? Is it Central Park? I didn't know what the name of this was.
Central Park is the working name, Sunday.
Okay. This is Lynn Reed asking, but thank you.
Okay, sorry.
Since we're running short on time, I posted the education update from our District 4 school board member, and we're also going to put a link to that on both our Facebook page and our website. But in the chat, I've got the essence of Francesca Warren's report. And earlier the question was, do the schools look to growth in the community? They already do, and they keep up with the plans as they're being submitted to the city. So they are in lockstep with that process. But you know, school capacity and roads typically lag behind development. It's just the way it works, and it's not just here.
It's too bad, though.
Well, are there any other questions, y'all? Well, first, let me thank all of the presenters. We appreciate you coming out tonight and being on the call. And we're looking forward, if you want to come back to the association to present, give us updates, you're more than welcome. We meet on the first Thursday of every month. Normally we take the summers off, but we've had so much going on in the community. We've met every month, and we will continue to the end of the year. So thank you all for your time. We look forward to all the things that are coming. And with that said, we will see you in August.
Debbie?
Yeah.
You didn't want me to give a quick update?
Yeah, dear, go right ahead. It's 8:07. I didn't.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'll give it. I'll try to do it in 7 minutes.
Okay.
Or less. Okay. Traffic calming and public works. We have a 3-way intersection installed with flashing stop signs at Boat Rock and Baker's Ferry that got installed today. We have no truck signs installed at Cascade and FIB and Boat Rock and Campbellton Road. So I've heard you loud and clear in that area. We have flashing stop sign now at Wallace Road and Woodside, the Woodside Hills community. You've probably seen that. And we have a traffic signal at Stonewall Hill and Campbellton Road coming. So all that construction you see, there'll be a road realignment and a traffic light installed there. Danforth Road sidewalks are currently under construction. It includes a curb and gutter and street lights will be installed on Danforth, as well as we have a couple projects out to be in District 1. One for the Fairburn Road and the Enum Road culvert are out for bid. We're expecting work in the fall, going into the top part of 2024 for those bridge and culvert replacements. In addition, there is a traffic light coming to Cascade and Kimberly Road. New businesses, Freddy's Custard and Steak Burgers is coming next to Popeyes. I think y'all reported that at the last meeting. Right. Story Riverside is now pre-leasing its units The 2 bedrooms start at roughly 1,900, almost 2,000 a month, as they told us previously. The projected opening at Starbucks is slated for September 2023. Gaucher's Tapas Restaurant and Bar has added a Saturday and Sunday brunch to the Sandtown location. That brunch is from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. I sent that out in my newsletter last week, but just trying to get the word out there for them. And of course, many of you probably have noticed they have JJ's Chicken and Fish, which is on Fulton Industrial near I-20. So there's starting to be some different kind of activity up there. The new house and Rockland Hometown homes are coming to Camilton and Stonewall Hill. I think y'all see the first models under construction. And one other, Lennar Homes will be building along Riverside Drive. That's next to the senior apartment. You may have seen a story in the news lately. We have been working with the property owner, and they're making plans to gate that whole property. We want to make sure our seniors are safe. So that's one thing that's in play that we're working on now. Want to let you know, we do have a couple back to school events. I'll be giving book bags away at Randolph and A. Phillip Randolph and Sandtown Middle School in partnership with Gaucher Hawkins. This is one of her community give back projects. So that'll be the week before school opens. And as I mentioned before, Sandtown Rec Center is under renovation. We'll have a grand opening in August, so stay tuned for that. And that's it. See, I
One
said
more
it quick,
thing.
but
We're going to get sidewalks on New Hope Road, 5-foot wide sidewalks on each side, from the Sitco all the way back to the existing sidewalks at Danforth.
yeah, absolutely. Again, that won't start until we get Danforth done, just because all the traffic flow issues with that, but a lot of great projects underway.
Wonderful. What a way to end our meeting, but all of the good things that's happening in the Sandtown community.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thanks
You're
again,
welcome.
everybody.
See you
all
next
have
month.
See you next month. Have a good week.
Okay, you too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Good
Good night.
night.